Before we go to the next lecture, I'd just like to show you this video on what it's like to open a beehive practically and to inspect a bee colony and the type of equipment that you're going to use, such as a bee suit and a smoker. Just to go through it, I have my bee suit here, my gloves. These are just ordinary plastic or rubber household gloves. They cost me about 50 cents, so they're quite cheap. Matches to light the smoker. I have a notebook and pen here to take notes, and this is the smoker fuel. So I have a bit of sacking in the inside of a cardboard box, and I'm going to make a roll out of that and I'm going to light it. It makes a good smoker fuel. You could use dried grass, you could use other materials such as dried wood shavings, something anyway that's not toxic to bees or doesn't have chemicals included. I have my hive tool here, and I have my bee brush, and I have my boots. So I'm going to put all this lot on. Sorry, I have my smoker as well. I'm going to light that smoker in a minute. And I'm going to put all this lot on, and then I'm going to go ahead to the beehives. And I have my bag here as well. This is where I just keep all my bits and pieces safe and secure. Anyway, so that's just basic equipment that you're going to need before you go to the bees. Before I do anything else, I'm going to light my smoker. This is a bit I had from the last time. It can also light. Lighting the smoker is an important job because having good smoke is absolutely essential for controlling the bees, and it's very important to light it properly so it doesn't go out in the middle of operations, because that's the last thing you need to do or to have happen is that the smoker will go out. So it's important to make sure that it's lighting correctly. Yeah. Oops. Oh, there's nice big long matches. Now, this is just basically what I do. I'll just light this one, and you can see I'm just rolling it up, and then make a little like that, and it's not too windy today, luckily enough. But obviously, if you were doing this on a very windy day, you'd need to be in somewhere out of the wind. But it's working for me today. I'm going to get it light and well, so that gives out plenty of smoke. A nice red tip there, and that can just smoke away just like that. Okay, and then I can pop it into the smoker just like that, and then pop that bit on as well. That's a bit of extra sacking, and just a few puffs, and that should hopefully stay lighting. And if you can get the smoker lighting well, it's a very important job in terms of preparing to go to the bees, because you want the smoker lighting and to light continuously, and also you want cool white smoke. You don't want flames coming out of it, you don't want sparks, so you want just nice cool smoke, something non-toxic, and that's just some old hessian sacking and a bit of cardboard. Okay, so now I'm going to put on my bee suit. Now my smoker is lighting away, so that's good. You can see the smoke coming out. So keep it lighting, give it a few puffs. That's good. Now I'm going to put on my bee suit. It's a little bit dirty, but it's clean. I just washed it. But It's old, I suppose. Just gonna put up the bee suit. It can be hot inside a bee suit, so you dress appropriately depending on the temperature. I have to lose weight. Yeah. Now, hopefully you'll be able to hear me all right, and I have the suit more or less on, except I have to put on the boots on my feet. I have my smoker, make sure it's still lighting. As I said, that's a key issue. Yep, you see the smoke coming out there? Yep, that's okay. Now it can get quite hot in the bee suit, so you can dress appropriately depending on the weather. I'm wearing a shirt and a vest, but it's quite warm today. It's here in Ireland, it's 20 degrees. It's the 20th of April 2019, and it's my first inspection of the year. I was waiting for a nice warm day before opening my bees. Now you could of course inspect earlier. Anytime above 15 degrees should be okay to inspect. Nice, but today is a nice, warm, calm day, so it's really ideal conditions to be inspecting the bees. So just putting on my household gloves. You can buy these type of gloves in any of the supermarkets, certainly here in Ireland anyway. I'm sure anywhere in the world. Now I'm pretty much secure, and I am pretty much sting proof. I have my suit zipped up there and my smoker, and let's go ahead, bring the rest of the equipment. Let's go ahead and we'll open a beehive and see how it is. Okay. Now bring the rest of my gear. Now this is the key piece of equipment here that I'm going to need, and of course the smoker, and I have my bee brush. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to puff some smoke into the entrance of the beehive, just to let the bees know that I'm here. And also once they smell smoke, they start preparing to evacuate the hive. What they do is they engorge themselves with some honey into their honey stomachs. They have a honey stomach, and that one, when they start, it's like they're preparing to leave the colony, so they're stocking up on food. That's what they would have done, you know, in a forest fire. So that when they start engorging themselves with honey into the honey stomach, to become more docile. And the second thing is the smoke. You can see there's quite a lot of smoke coming out now. It also masks their alarm signals, so that they can't really make a coordinated attack to defend their hive. So it just helps me to be more secure. Okay, so what we do is I'm going to smoke this one as well because it's right next. Just give them a little whiff of smoke up under the hive as well. And what you do is you wait maybe 2 minutes for the smoke to take effect, because you don't want to rush in and just open the hive. You give it a little while before opening, just to give that smoke a little bit of a chance to work. Now, it's an absolutely beautiful day here. It's the best day we've had so far in 2019 here in Ireland, and it's a perfect day just to go and open bees and just to be with the bees. And when I open this colony, it's kind of, you go into another world. I mean, you talk about presence. This forces you to be present in the present moment, because once you see the bees, then you can't really start daydreaming, because it's very, you have to be focused on what you're doing. Now I'm going to remove the roof now, just another little puff. You can see my smoker is working nicely. Now, I'm going to puff some smoke down onto the bees again, just to keep them under control. And I'm going to use my hive tool to pry off the lid. Okay. Now I'm going to shake off the bees. Again, another bit of smoke. Now these bees, they would have brought in ivy honey over the winter. So here it is, the lid is off now, and you can see the bees are calmly on the surface here of the beehive, and you can see them sucking up the honey. You can see those bees there, and they're very, very calm, just sitting there. No bee is attacking me or doing anything. And yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful sight. And if I want, I can just put another little puff of smoke over the bees, just to keep them calm. But they are generally calm. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take out a frame of honey or whatever else. It could be brood, and we'll have a look at that. But generally, yeah. And there's what we call the crown board, the cover board that I removed with the hive tool, which you see here, the hive tool. And there's the lid of the hive, and of course my bag with all the utensils. Okay, so I'm going to remove a frame now. And of course, this course is background to beekeeping, so we're really talking about, the why of beekeeping. We're not going so much into the how of beekeeping, but of course a lot of people are interested in the how as well. So I wanted to add in this video to give people, just show people, what it's like to come to a beehive and get a sense of, how wonderful it is and how interesting beekeeping is. So I'm going to take out this comb now, and we're going to have a look and see what's on it. I want to take it out gently. I don't want to roll the bees. Now I'm going to bring it a little bit closer to the camera. You can see what's there. There's some brood, and I'm going to make sure there's no queen on it. Now I can actually see there's nectar dripping out, so the bees are bringing in nectar today. And this is actually a super frame with bees in it. It's not a deeper brood frame, but you don't worry too much about that. But and you can see on the hive, or on the frame, this is honey, and this is actually brood here, and that's actually a drone, or a male bee. That big one there is the drone, and I want to make sure there's no queen, otherwise she might drop down and be lost on me in the grass. but I don't see any sign of the queen. Now let's have a closer look at that again. And there was a drone bee, yes, there is a drone bee there. It's a big bee, should be pretty much in the center of the picture. And I'll certainly put a little marker on that, but the rest, that's brood comb there. And those cells that are sticking out there, drone cells, that's where the drones are hatched out from. And over on this end of the comb is honey, sealed honey. So as I said, it's in a super frame, and when you study the how of beekeeping, you'll learn about the difference between super frames and brood frames. But yeah, I might take out another comb just to show you what that's like. And just leave that down there. Just have a quick look at the rest of the bees. There's a bee there with yellow pollen. I don't know if you can see it there. The bee is just going down into the hive. And the rest are just clustered around, and they're sucking up honey because of that smoke, because I'm using smoke. And that's good because it keeps the bees calm. And of course the smoker is lighting all the time here, and I have to make sure that the smoker continues to light, because if it goes out, well, that's not good. And I suppose it's a bit of a skill just to get the smoker lighting in a way that it doesn't go out. It's actually a key skill. I'll just take out another comb just to show you how I'm doing that. I'm using this hive tool, just gently lifting it up. And I'm going to lift that out gently, and I'm going to check and make sure that there's no queen on there before I do anything else, because I don't want to lose the queen. I don't want her to drop down. Now is another comb. Okay. So the main purpose of this video is just to give you a sense of, what it's like to open a beehive, how interesting it is, because you don't know what you're going to find. And you do get to know your bees, you get to know their temperament. It's a bit like having a dog or a cat. That pet. The same way, each colony, each of these beehives is going to have its own particular character, its own behavior. Some are going to be very docile, others are going to be more aggressive. So that's something you're going to get used to. You're going to get to know each one of your colonies. And I recommend that you start with 2 colonies, because anything can happen to one colony. It can die out, for example, and then you'll be left. But if you have 2 colonies, it's easier to recover. And a lot of management practices in beekeeping are easier when you have 2 colonies. Okay, again, can you spot the honey? Honey on this side, there's brood on this side here. Okay, and that's worker brood, sealed worker brood. And you can gently go through the rest of the frames and just check what's happening. You see again more honey there on this side here, on the bottom side. It's all honey, and there's some brood here. Now people will be able to assess the quality of the brood. I can see eggs as well, eggs and larvae. It's a little bit hard to see, but there are eggs in here. There are eggs. Okay. And that means if you see eggs, there's a queen. There's a laying queen in this colony. Now that's all honey. So there's a lot of honey here, and the bees will need more space to lay. So I'm going to have to add frames to this colony to give the bees work to do to draw out that wax, but I don't want to get into any of that because it's really just to show you, what it's like to open a colony, check on the bees, and how wonderful it is on a beautiful summer, well, not summer, but a beautiful spring day. It's, as I said, it's about 20 degrees here. It's beautiful. The dandelions are in bloom everywhere, and it's really peaceful, and it's beautiful to be out here in the apiary. Beekeeping really is a wonderful hobby. On a sunny day, you just want to be out amongst the bees, out in nature. So that's something absolutely wonderful. And as I said, the more you handle your bees, the more you get to know them, you get to know their temperament, you get to know what they're like, and you get used to them and they get used to you. Now I'm going to make sure I make enough space before I put this frame back in. I'm not going to do much more than this today, even though I could have a look in the bottom box. This is a top box, but there's a bottom box underneath here, and I could take this one off and have a look underneath as well. It's another job that I could do, but let me push this back to make sure I have enough space. Now here's a bee stinging me. I'm not feeling anything, but it's stinging the glove, and you can see, okay, it didn't leave the stinger behind, but it was trying to sting me. Now when that happens, it's good to cover over the scent of where the bee tried to sting with using smoke, because that just reduces other bees from following suit and also stinging you. Now again, I want to do this gently without crushing bees if I can. Now, I'm going to get rid of them, and I might remove that bit of comb. It's a way to move the bees out of the way here. I'm going to remove that comb, a bit of what we call burr comb, to get rid of that. It's getting in the way. Now it goes down nicely in there. I want to do it without crushing any bees. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove that box, and I'm going to have a look at the bottom. Okay. And I'm going to place them on this lid. Again, smoker handy, and just be ready to puff a bit of smoke in there. Yeah, that's quite heavy. Ooh, there's a lot of honey in that. All right, we're down to the bottom layer now, and you can see there's some, it looks like, yes, honey. That's honey here. Okay, that is broken when I removed the top box. Okay, this is called brood and a half. I'm going to remove out a center frame just here and see what's on it. Okay, and that's mostly honey. This is capped honey. It could be from ivy in Ireland, and I can actually smell it. Ivy, flowers from September to December in Ireland, so the bees will have brought in quite a lot of that honey, and it's sitting here. Now some of these frames will have to be replaced in the sense that they have holes and they don't look particularly good. So I'll be putting foundation sheets, fresh wax into these, into the brood box here. Let the bees draw it out. And you have to replace some of the old combs, you know, every year, because you want the bees to be on fresh wax, because old wax tends to harbor disease. Like this comb is not good, it needs to go. And yep, you can just work gently through the hive. Let's see, now this one has some fresh nectar. I don't know if you can see fresh nectar here in this. Again, it's an old comb that would need to be replaced. There's quite a lot of old comb in this hive and it needs to be changed. Again, another dark comb. I don't know if you can see, but there's pollen. There's pollen in these cells. There's yellow. You can see yellow, that's pollen. There's a bee with pollen on its legs. Okay. It's a bee with pollen. It's a bee with pollen. And there's pollen here in the combs. And just work gently through the hive. Again, a dark comb needs to be changed. Okay, I'm not going to go any further. At least now I know what needs to be done on this colony. And I'm going to make a note of that, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to bring a lot of fresh foundation, and I'm going to change some of these old combs from this super box, or this brood box at the bottom. Okay, so it's going to go back in. Now, I could scrape off this stuff here, this honey. I probably should, otherwise bees might get crushed when I put back the other box. Again, my smoker is still lighting. You can see the smoke there. And it's very important that it keeps lighting. And I can get rid of this material here just to keep it clean. Again, get rid of some of the bees out of the way. You can just work gently, calmly. And then that's all ivy honey from the winter. Now, ivy honey is quite bitter to taste, but people say it's a good medicine. So I can certainly keep that ivy honey and possibly melt it down with other ivy honey. And people actually sell it so as a medicine. So I could take out some of those combs. I wouldn't be selling this particular one that I'm scraping off, but I could harvest from some of the combs in there and melt it down and bottle it. Yeah, there is a demand for that. Okay, just get that cleaned up. Now I'm going to put Superbox back. Ooh, it's heavy, heavy. Oh, by the way, you need a good back for beekeeping. I have a bad back, so you just need to be very careful when you're lifting. And as I said, this is a super box, this is a brood box. So during the summer, later on in the season, if it's a good year, by by June, this would be way up. You could have 5 or 6 of these boxes on it, and each of these boxes could be 10 kilos. So, you know, you're going to have a big stack of boxes as the bees bring in the honey. If it's a good strong colony, they'll be bringing in lots of honey, and you'll have something called a queen excluder between the brood. In this particular colony, the brood is here, but if I want to put another box like this just for honey, I'll put a queen excluder on top of this, and then the bees will then fill with pure honey, the supers. Okay, again, this brace comb here, I can clear it off. And this is just wax. I call it brace comb. This is called the crown board, this particular board that I'm scraping off the wax. Now there is a colony next, so I should try not to disturb it. And I may be disturbing it, but I shouldn't be. But anyway. It's good to have a container with you to collect up all those bits of wax and brace comb that you collect. And again, I could have scraped off from the top of this hive, push down the bees with a bit of smoke. And then remove this brace comb. It'll just be easier to do it, when I open it the next time, it'll be easier. So there won't be all that wax getting in the way. Again, try not to crush bees. And all throughout this, the bees are generally, I can say, very calm. They're not giving me any trouble. I only had one that tried to sting me. So I am satisfied. These bees are fine. Now, collect up that wax. Now, that's my crown board back on, super, brood box, smoker, and hive tool. Essential piece of kit. And in this case we didn't use the bee brush, but if I needed to brush off bees I would have used the bee brush. That's what this is for, just from the comb or from anywhere else. And then pop the roof back on. Okay, and that's an inspection. Okay, so I've just put it all back together now, and you know, that's it really. And you know, it was such a pleasant experience. No bees tried to sting me, except apart from one that I showed you there with the glove. And you know, beekeeping is such a wonderful thing, to be outside on such a beautiful day with nature, with the bees. Very enjoyable. As I said, this course is about the why of beekeeping more than the how of beekeeping, but some people requested, you know, a video or some more information, just to give more information on the practicalities. So that was the purpose of this video, is just to show you how to go about opening a beehive, what it's like. And I hope you enjoyed the video. In future I would hope to maybe make an additional course on the how of beekeeping, to go into the detail of beekeeping. But you know, for now, I just wanted to add this video onto the background to beekeeping course to give people just an indication of, okay, this is what it's like, this is what you need, the kind of equipment, and this is what it's like to actually go out, smoke the bees, open the hive, and to see what happens on the inside and, you know, what it's like. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I just want to thank you again for taking the course. I think we have a very important message to spread at this time when we're talking about nature, you know, is on the run, it's in decline all over the world. We have climate change, we have species extinction. You know, if we really want to educate people about nature, then there's nothing more wonderful than beekeeping. So that's why I made this course. That's why I want to encourage people to get into beekeeping, because once you're in beekeeping, then you can really see the value of nature and see how wonderful and beautiful nature is, and to see what a tragedy it is, what's happening at the moment with all the species that are going extinct or in decline around the world. And I'm just watching at the moment David Attenborough's program, Our Planet, on Netflix, and that just is, nature is so wonderful, so amazing, and it's quite shocking to see what's happening to our seas, what's happening to our environment all around the world, and how threatening and how dangerous climate change is. So the more people we can encourage into something like beekeeping, then the better for everybody, because the more understanding we're going to create about the environment. And that's really the importance of beekeeping in my mind. It's not about producing a few kilos of honey or whatever. Most people are going to be hobbyist beekeepers, but it's to open our eyes to the beauty of nature and the beauty of bees, and to protect our planet. That's what it's about. So thanks very much for watching, and I do hope you enjoyed this short video. Thank you.